I'm Baines. I'm going to start off how I think all good presentations should start off is with an apology. It's my first step and it's very, very incomplete. So I'm going to need you all to squint a little bit. If you have glasses, you can take those off. It might help you understand my art. So it's an iOS app. I'm going to hit enter here. It's a game, which I didn't think would be very original, but no one else seems to have done a game here. So we start off, and the challenge is 3, 2, 1, lift off, which is to basically just create a game like following NASA's history, something like that. So just this idea I've come up with is here you have money, and you get that through maybe random events, such as like government grants, or by completing successful missions. And then here we have research, and we do that by training good scientists and good engineers. And so, yeah, you're going to have to squint here. So Earth's Moon, these are like different missions to take upon. So some of these could be just to launch. So yeah, we've got just to launch this far into the air, just because as like a starter, you'll see these are a bit lower. And then as you progress and you get more scientists and you get more money, then maybe you could start doing flybys until you finally go into orbit and maybe put a lander on one of these planets or a rover, things like that. So yeah, you can see comets kind of incredibly difficult to do, so that will be something you get later on in the game. So what we can do is we can click on one of these. It's got a very accurate representation of a rocket, and that would be a mission to the Earth's moon. Over time, we will collect this money, kind of just through missions, and then yeah, you have to squint a bit here. Here you would assign scientists. You would assign rockets, a launch site, or astronauts, and depending upon the different, not descriptions, but like values, then there'll be an algorithm for success. So if you have the best rocket and the best launch site, then you'll be able to do a 100% success, but the payoff won't be very good. Whereas if you take a bit more risk, maybe like risk a few disasters, I guess the payoff would be greater, and maybe you could progress later on in the game. Obviously, this is what I've done so far. This is what I've been doing over the past day. But there's many extensions that I can see, and I can actually believe this to be a real iOS game. I was hoping you could possibly build a story. So I know there's certain other iOS applications out there with a story that's being narrated. So maybe you could get someone quite famous like Chris Hadfield or another senior scientist to kind of tell the story of NASA. We could have a timeline, we could build a timeline into it, where you start off in 1945, where you've just got a handful of new scientists and you're ready to start this new agency. Or maybe to build in some sort of educational aspect to it. Obviously you've got the history, which is kind of educational. But in addition to that, you could maybe introduce a quiz. So children could, or anybody could just do a quiz, and depending on how you're doing that quiz, you could earn more research points and you can progress faster in the game. In terms of accessibility, I feel that my school just bought 2,000 iPads for all the students, and this could be an educational game that could go on there. So I feel that could definitely be used by a lot of school children. And also it makes learning fun, in a way. I think that's the only proper way to learn, is to kind of have fun doing it and enjoy doing it. Obviously this is spent a day on it. Got a long, long way to go. It looks like nothing. But taking into fact as an open source project, and potentially a lot of people could, with a lot more experience than I have, could possibly produce this into a feasible iOS game that could be used by thousands, hundreds of thousands. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
So that's for education. Where are you going to get the data? Did you have any plan to get the data? Or is that somewhere?
There's some sort of story mode.
Story modes, and also for the building the algorithm for success and so on. Do you use some data from NASA? Do they provide some kind of data for that?
You definitely could do. I think the dates would be quite useful for the data, because obviously there's a natural progression of technology. And I mean, another idea that I had, which I forgot to mention, was that just being plugged down in story mode in the 1945, and you got to compete against Russia. So there's that kind of aspect on it where there's like a space race, and you've got to kind of do all these quizzes to try and beat Russia basically, and just to try and like progress faster than everybody else. So you turn it into a sort of like the challenging side to that. But of course there would have to be like research into technology and kind of develop the algorithm and things like that.
Yeah. Have you thought of like a final objective? How do you win the game? Like, do you get a man on Mars, or do you have a city on Pluto? Or?
Yeah. I imagine the game to be a bit like Civilization, where there's no end to it. You just kind of you get to present day, and then you just progress, and you could throw some things like new spaceships and things that's in development, new ideas, kind of just add on to it and just create it until eventually people give up playing.
I think in Civilization you ended by flying to Alpha Centauri.
Could do that one. There you go. Expansion.
DLC.
I really like your idea, it's good. I was debating whether to do something like this for this one instead. But how do you feel about in-app purchases? Like,
I don't know. Open source, is there something against that?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm wondering what your into the app development, I was wondering what your take on one.
Yeah, my one app.
Yeah.
Personally, I will be against it. But I think if other people helped to move me with it, then they would get a fair share, or you'd find a way to just split the profits. And
I was actually more interested in the ethical side of, like, a lot of kids just use, they just press buttons on fun apps they like enjoying, so and then it just costs lots of money.
Oh, the ethical side.
Yeah. Okay, it's a wasted question.
No, to put my foot in it now. I would hope there would be a password, and I'm sure other apps have faced that thing. I'm sure Apple will have a way around it. I mean, I'm sure Apple can kind of they've done that. I'm sure other apps have faced that problem. So you're right.
Do you have an idea of how much effort you have to put in to finish it? So how many times,
How long?
is it going to take to finish the game?
I think it's got to be something where there's got to be a constant reward, and I think there's a point in the game where
I'm talking about building the game, not playing the game.
building the game.
Building the game, getting
How
the
long that
product out.
would take?
Yeah.
I would imagine a long time, especially for me. I think it would take definitely a few months. I don't think it's obviously there's games out there fairly similar. I think that by taking the kind of pixelated look to it, kind of creating a pixelated landscape and producing it that way could possibly save you a lot of time. But I'd imagine it would take a few months. I don't think it would be, just by producing it for today. There's a lot more work to go into it. I imagine with apps as well, you can introduce upgrades as you go along. So you would initially just say 6 months, and I'm going to put an app out, and then from then on I'm just going to make incremental adjustments to it, and incremental additions and new features and new functionality. And you'd state that in the description as well. You'd say this is, you know, version 1.0, but later on we're introducing new story modes, new spacecraft, new missions, things like that.
Okay, thank you very much.